In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a custom related list in Zoho CRM. So I'm in Zoho CRM right here, as you can see, and I'm in an account. And for this video, I'd like to know what are all the products this account has purchased, right? There's a lot of related lists, but I have this one for here called products. That's only if this account, is the creator of that is related to that product. And the product might be sold by someone else, but I want to know for this account, what are the products they're interested in, right? Do they buy a lot of products? Do they only buy a few? So that's what I want to know. So I'm going to make a related list in Deluge to show you all the products this person has purchased in the past. So let's start out here. I'm going to click Add Related List, and then I'm going to click Functions. And this one, we're going to create a new list, and this is going to be called Products Purchased from Account. I'm going to copy this, Control-C, Control-V, or Command if you're on a Mac. Go to Create. So now we're in Deluge. So how does Deluge display certain things? Well, it's kind of this weird XML kind of format. But before we get to that format, let's start by commenting out the code we want to see. So the first thing we know, is we want to say get the quotes related to an account. And then because we have the quotes related to the account, we should say get all the products related to the quotes. Now, that's very helpful as well. I'm actually going to add one more step at the top here because we should have had this. Get the accounts. So now that we have all the products, there might be one product that's purchased on every quote, right? If you sell beer bottles, right, like with custom labels, every account might have their own label, but everyone gets the bottles, right? So we don't want to have a bunch of lines showing up they bought bottles. We want one line to show them that they bought bottles. So let's say make products unique, right? So then after we have all the products and all the unique products, we want to say assemble the related list. If I could spell, that would be very helpful. Let's go assemble the related list. And then I'll show you how to do that part. So let's start out. Let's go to Edit Arguments. Let's do ID. We're in Accounts. So let's get the account ID done and saved. So start out by go account data equals zoho.crm.getRecord by ID. Accounts ID. Great, good first step. So we have this one, we have the account data. So now we want to get the quotes related to the account. So let's go list of quotes equals zoho.crm.get related records. So we have the text relation name, the parent module name, the number ID. We have some optional stuff. So the relation name here, in our accounts, from a previous video, go back to Bart Simpson, the account here. So in the accounts, it's called quotes, but that might not be the API name, right? So I could put in quotes here and then say accounts and then go ID, and this might work, right? but there is a chance that it won't. And what we're going to do is we're going to click here. I'm going to middle click it to open up in another window. Right. So now we're in settings and I'm going to click API. And within API, there's this thing at the top that says API names, and we're going to go down to accounts. And then there's accounts and fields. Let's go related list. You scroll down, the related list is called quotes. Now, you'll notice that some of them are not, some of them child accounts, child underscore accounts versus sales orders, there's no spaces. This is why I like to check the API name, because it's probably right to say quotes, but sometimes if you have a very old CRM, Zoho CRM, if it's very old, it may have been another module name previously, and the API name stays the same, even if you change the module name. So this is just important to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and copy this. So quotes, and then I'm going to run it here. Let's go info list of quotes. List of quotes, and I'm going to grab the account number for Bart Simpson, and let's run it. There we go. As you can see, here's our list of quotes. So let's go ahead and copy this, and let's throw it into our JSON parser. If you remember from a previous video, I used the same thing. So now it's parsed out so we can see what this is. So in here, if we scroll down, this is one quote, right? And then there's the other quote. So in the quote, there's the product details, and that is a list. As you can see, there's 2 items in there. And within that list, there's the objects, and this would be an example of an object. So we want to get this item into our list of items to be passed through to the account. So let's do that. Get all the items. So let's go for each element. And the elements is the list of quotes. And for each quote in list of quotes, what do we want to do? Well, we want to say do another one of these, because in each quote, so we're going to go through each quote, but within each quote, there's line items for each product. So we also want to go for each, and let's grab this quote, and let's say we want to get product details. So if we go back, .get product details. And this would be line item. So this goes for each quote. In the list of quotes, I want to go through each line item. And what do we want to do in each line item? Well, we're going to want to add it to a list. But before we add it to a list, let's just double check to make sure that this is working properly. So I'm going to go info again, and I'm going to grab line item. And then I'm also going to do one more thing. I'm going to say break. And I'm going to say break here. Break is a hidden command. There's no documentation on it, but what it means is that it's going to exit out of this loop. So essentially, we're just going to grab this first line item in the first quote, and then we're going to be done. So let's go ahead and run that here. And let me grab Bart Simpson's account number. There you go. So here is the product that it was in the first quote that we grabbed. So now that we know this works, what do we want to do with this? Well, if we look at the product, there's the product with this item ID, and then there's this ID, right? So let's actually go to one of these quotes. Let's go the second quote from Bart Simpson. And let's open it up, and it was the hev suit, and we're going to open up the hev suit, and it's this 01. So if I go and check that out, that is this one right here, right? So we want to grab the ID and the name from within this object. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's go product name equals line item dots get, what else was there? Product, dot get product. Then within that is dot get name. Dot get name. And then we could do the same thing. We're going to copy this, paste down, and we can actually do it for ID as well. Product ID. So now that we have the name and ID for this product, we actually want to add that into a new object. We don't need to know all the details about it. We just need to know what's the name of the product, and then at least for this example, what's the name of the product, and you know, what is it? Like, can I click it and go somewhere? So now that we have this, we actually want to make it an object. So let's go and make something, and let's do a item object equals collection. Now, I don't use collections very often, but when I do, it's very important. So let's go ahead and add these items. Dot insert, and we want to go product name, copy, item insert, and we want to go product ID. So now we have an object or a collection, and that's essentially going to look like this: name ID, right? It's going to look like this thing right here. It's a name and then an ID. Now we want to add this into a list of all the things that they've had on every one of their quotes. So let's go ahead and make a list before we go through the iteration. Let's go product list equals list. And then let's go ahead and add this item object, add, into this list. Go ahead and delete this. So now what we have is a product list for with the product name and the product ID for every item in every quote related to this account, right? So if let's info it out, and let's go product list, info product list. Let me grab Bart Simpson's account number again, and let's do a quick test. There we go. So now we have a bunch of objects, right? So let's say, let me go back here. On this quote, I have a heavy suit and a portal gun, right? Bart Simpson's been up to no good, so he wants a portal gun, but also on his other quote here, he has a cat carrier, which is like an aircraft carrier, but with cats. So let's go ahead and add, just for the sake of this demonstration, we're gonna go ahead and add a cat carrier to one of his quotes. Cat carrier. So now on two of his quotes, we know that Bart Simpson has cat carriers. So let's show that in the, there we go, cat carrier and cat carrier. But we don't want two lines showing up in Bart Simpson's account. We just want to know that he's bought a cat carrier. We don't need to know that he's bought a bunch of them, or we don't need to show a bunch of lines with that cat carrier. So now we're at the next part where we want to make the product unique. So let's do that. Product list equals product list dot distinct. It's actually very simple. So now that we do that, let's go ahead, copy, and put that here. Let's grab Bart Simpson's account number. Click save and execute. There we go. Now we're back down to one cat carrier. So here's the important part now. We want to display this information as a related list. And Zoho has this weird XML way of displaying this information. So how do we do that inside Deluge? Well, we start out, let's call it response XML equals a blank string. So now Deluge knows that it's a blank string, or it's a like text data. We'll go this equals this, so response XML plus response XML. So from now on, we just add to the end of this plus. So what do we do? Let's go, it's called records. It is going to be this square one, records, and this one, and then there we go. So we've initialized that these are records, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this, and then we want to say row number 0, essentially. Let's go square row number equals 0, and then that one. Okay, now this part is dry and very boring. So I'll actually put this thing here on our website, so you can just grab it anytime you want. So now that we've said the row number 0, which is the one at the very top. So inside here, this would be this row here, right? Within the account, it would be the top row. So what do we actually want to put there? Well, we probably want to put the name of the item, and in our case, we're going to say link. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to copy this, copy paste, and we put FL, and then it goes val. Val equals product name. Val equals product name. And then we actually want to say what the product name is here. So let's go plus. Let's go blank string for now. Actually, no, we don't want to do that. We can actually just say product name. Product name. And then we want to say /FL. There we go. So this then says that the first column in the first row is for product name. And we can actually copy it. And we'll go product link. Product link. So now we know what we're displaying. If I save this, so this is going to make a thing that just says product name, a product link. So now we actually want to go through each of the actually not yet. We want to end, because we made the row here, we want to end the row again. So let's go this. I'm going to copy this row, and it's going to have that. And there we go, row. So now we've ended the row. So now what do we want to do? Well, we actually need to iterate through, like loop through, all of the products we have here. So let's go for each element. Let's say in the product list, product today. display. We want to do essentially the same thing that we have here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just copy and paste it in. Okay, so then row number, the original one was 0. We actually don't want to keep using 0. So let's go row number equals 0. And let's start it with 0. And then within here, we'll go row number equals row number plus 1. And then let's copy that row number. And then copy plus. There we go. So now we have the row number there. So then we have the product name. And this is what we want to put in here. Now, based on above here, the product to display. So we can go product name equals product to display plus, and then plus and that product to display dot get is going to be 0 because it is the first thing, the product name. And then the product link. So that's a little interesting. I have it in another page here. I'm just going to copy and paste something to show this to you. Copy, and so I'm going to put this right there. Go link. Now, this is not the URL we want to use. The URL we want to use is actually up here. So this is a specific product. So let's go ahead and copy this. Copy, let's go back to Bart Simpson, and let's go URL to redirect to equals, paste that in. We're going to end the quote there. I'm going to go plus product to display dot get 1, and then we actually want to paste that URL right here. Paste. Link. And then we end the row. And finally, we actually, because up here we have this records one, we want to do the same thing. Let's go records and then end the record. Now that we have a response XML, we just put that right there. And let's check to see. We copy this and let's go to Bart's. This is what would come through. So let's go ahead and save this. Customer related name, all products purchased. Click save. Now it shows up in all products purchased for Bart Simpson. We have the product name, heavy suits, portal guns. You can click this. And it goes there. All right, so this is how you make a custom related list. Now we can again do anything within here, right? Like we could have another column for the amount purchased, but you know, that would require us going back and changing a bit of the logic. Again, in the go edit, edit. I will post this information on our blog, on our website, so that also, I believe we can comment this out. Save and execute, click save, and let's look at Bart Simpson again. Product purchased. There we go. So I'll put that special code on our website. But if you needed, you know, specific like the number of products of a certain products they purchased, or the last time they purchased, this can all be coded into Deluge and displayed in this kind of fashion. Thank you very much.